Welcome to today's Ruse. I'm Lazarus. This is a new side quest for me. I remember hearing Ricky on Last Word on Spurs talking about how we don't really choose to support Spurs. Spurs choose you. And that was the case for me. But the peculiar thing is that it happened twice, and I'll just basically explain how. So my dad is a big Spurs fan. Spurs takes up a big part of conversation with him, and he first became a Spurs fan when he came here in the early 1980s. So he came from Nigeria, and I think he got here around 83, 84. He came and he was living, I think he first lived in Colindale. And I remember him saying to me that he didn't really want to, he just wanted to be he wanted to be different. He didn't really want to support all the teams that they were all supporting. And at the time as well, there was a Nigerian international playing for Spurs. His name was John Chidozie, and that kind of was what drew him to Spurs.
They might do rather more than that. Crooks, Chidozie and Mark centre-forward position. Will he play it at the right time? He has. It's Chidozie who's gone wide and scored. What an unpredictable game football is. Spurs clear off the line at one end and score at the other within seconds. Garth Crooks set the play up there. He made it possible with that winning of a loose ball and the break. The precise pass at the right time to John Chidozie, who went wide of Mervyn Day and pushed the ball into the net in the 73rd minute. Spurs take the lead, but Aston Villa supporters must be reflecting that only half a minute earlier, Houghton had got the shot off the line from Walters.
Anyway, once I was born, my dad wasted no time in trying to make me a Spurs fan. My first memory was of Spurs, watching Spurs. I remember diving on the living room, on the carpet floor.
Goal, Jurgen Klinsmann! What a great home debut, and he dives in celebration. A magnificent goal by Jurgen Klinsmann.
However, this is where the story goes a bit awry, you see, because my mother is also a big football fan, and she was also a football player at the time. In the 90s, she played for Barnet Ladies, and at the time it was nowhere near as big as what women's football is now. My mum was a United fan. My mum is a United fan, Man United fan. And she became... Anyways, I won't go into the United connection, but...
Spurs does crazy things to people. It does. You put that club into any sentence or any issue, and invariably they all come out and try and diminish as much as they can. They love it. Oh, they love it. You love it. So it does crazy things to people, mate. I love it. Bring it on.
The long story of it is that I think I went over to United, probably glory hunting, you can say, but it was less. But I would say that it was more to do with me moving schools, because I moved to a new school at around about 7, 8. At the school before, one of my friends, shout out to him if you see this, Hope you're well. He's a Spurs fan, and so is his dad. And I remember specifically that it was one of the only, like, his dad was one of, and his parents in general were pretty much the only parents that my dad ever got on with, because like my dad's he's a bit of an introvert until he's like into his music and stuff. But I think what happened with me is that my mum took me to Old Trafford, and with one of my like family friends as well, and they all supported United. And I think once I went to Old Trafford, that was probably that was when I made the choice to be a United fan. I wish my dad had taken me to White Hart Lane. I reckon genuinely that if he had taken me to White Hart Lane before that, I would have stuck with Spurs. But I totally get why he hadn't done so. You know, obviously being here in the 80s and having the prior knowledge of how unwelcoming a place football could be for, you know, people who just come from Africa. I totally get that, why you wouldn't want to go or have a fear of going. So yeah, I get why my dad didn't take me to White Hart Lane. I wish he did. And I really wish he did, but that wasn't to be. Anyways, when I went to uni, the first person that I met at the bus stop, if you're watching, I hope that you're watching, or I hope you come across this. Anyways, funny thing was, he's born in Manchester. That came down and chose Spurs, and it was and obviously vice versa with me. But yeah, from then, you know, like we always talk about, you know, each other's teams. And one thing I always notice is that lots of people who I met who are Spurs fans, I tend to get on with them for some reason or another. Fast forward to 2018, I decided to stop supporting Manchester United. For a lot of my life, and most as a teenager, I've never really felt like I fit in. Certainly didn't feel like a Londoner. I always dreamed of sunnier climes further away. Manchester. I got my wish. Studying and then working in Leeds exposed me to vitriol towards Man United like never before. Music and nightlife in Manchester showed me the rivalry towards Liverpool ran further than the football. Were noisy neighbours miles away from me, or were they always down the road? The more the North accepted me, the more I accepted I'm from north of the river. 2018 to 2020, kind of like lost love with football. So yeah, the World Cup came and went, and then I didn't really take much interest in club football. Lockdowns came along, and I completely stopped watching football because I could not bear to watch football in empty stadiums. Like, it was like, the Pro Evo, when you're playing Pro Evo training, if you've ever played training mode, it was just like that, and it was just shit, to be honest. So yeah, I just took a complete break until, crowds came back, and then still I was just not really into football. So flashback to 2022, and I'm stood here just after the pandemic. And where are we? We're in South Tottenham. From there, made some killer music. Oh, so it seemed at the time. But yeah, so I did that. Spent about 6 months here. And during that 6 months, I would go around to the Lee, Mark Fields Park, and really get to know a bit of South Tottenham, Stamford Hill, the ghetto. But then I'd also come up here on up the Seven Sisters Road, and we would chill for a break outside Costas. And from there, that's when I really got to get to know the area a bit more, or a lot more, because I'm actually from down them lots way, and I've never really seen up here so much until a few years ago. So that was a big thing for me, in hindsight. Crimson skyline, crimson nightlife, canary in a coal mine. Or Uber. You seem like a stranger. You're so familiar. So I'm just sat bang in Goose Grove now, and I'm about 2 minutes away from where I used to work. A little studio where we used to make, well, we still do make content, radio shows, TV, online for the Ghanaian and Pan-African, West African community, like Anglophones, so like Ghana, Nigeria, but focused on Africa. Anyway, so that was not long after I'd finished work doing recording up by Stamford Hill. This was also a very enlightening experience. This is Tottenham pretty much run through, and again, coming here also on Saturdays, seeing Spurs fans come up and down the road, having to endure the traffic after games. I guess looking back on it, gave me an itch to want to be part of it, although little did I know that at the time. But yeah, you see the community in Tottenham, all its different smells, shapes, colours, textures, etc., languages, nations. You see what Tottenham really is, you know, and that's a part of Tottenham that gets glossed over, but I won't ever allow that to get glossed over when I'm talking about Spurs, because this is Tottenham and it's always been this way, always been full of people coming here from other lands to come and work. So that's my wrap up for today. Just see somebody in a Van der Ven shirt. But yeah, anyway, to wrap it up, coming here, working here, got it, made me get it. What supporting a team is about, especially supporting a local team. And that is everything that I've always been looking for. And then I think it was like around like 2023, I took a bit more of an interest, and yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back into football now. I wanna choose a team. And I was like, let's just put it this way, it didn't feel right for me to just pick a team, but at the same time that was what I wanted to do. It would just be living vicariously through a TV screen, and I didn't want to really do that again. Yeah, there's not really that connection between club supporters and whatever. That's not, I'm not denigrating international fans at all, because there's many international fans that really, you know, put in the effort, waking up at stupid times to watch, you know, and really, you know, take as active a part as they can in their team. So that's not, I'm not trying to denigrate that experience in any way. I wasn't really watching Spurs at that time, but I remember the heat was starting to get onto Conte, and when Conte had that press conference at Southampton, I was like, mate, this guy has said everything. He said everything. And so like, I went to my dad and went to my sister. I was like, he's speaking facts. But they were like, no, fuck him. Like, he's not saying it because he likes, you know, he cares about Spurs. He's just saying it just to get out. But I was like, yeah, but still, he's actually said what is the issue at Spurs. So yeah, he came and went, Conte came and went, Ange comes along, I'm watching, and yeah, I'm just watching and I'm like, okay, some good stuff, it's nice to see. Then I find myself watching Spurs a bit more, And then I think it was that. Was it that game? Was it the FA Cup game against Fulham at Craven Cottage? That was that was a turning point. But it was just something when a cog goes in my head. I'm like, okay, I like this Spurs team. I like what they had going about things. So yeah, that game came and went. And then the next season comes, and the media started giving Ange loads of grief after basically noshing him off. It didn't really sit well with me because I like the way that he speaks and he's just being frank and stuff, but they were asking him stupid questions, and I don't really like when they do that, especially when they softball others, So it was that infamous interview when he comes out and he says,
I'll correct myself, I don't usually win things, I always win things in my second year. Nothing's changed.
And you're confident you can do that with this side? You're seeing enough?
Well, I just sort of said it now, so I don't say things unless I believe them.
And that was when I was like, yes, come on. Yes, I'm bloody glad that he said that. And then I was kind of in, although, that was when I would say I was in. Although I didn't really want to say that, I'm supporting Spurs now, but I was really, really that's when I knew that I'd fallen in love. Like I'd fallen in love with Spurs. And it was just wild because I can't really remember having that experience of falling in love with a football team. It was just insane. From the lake, we are Tottenham,